Hey everybody, it is Monday. Happy Monday. It is also March, right? March 1st. Do y'all believe we are in a brand new month already? It seemed like we just got to February. And February is over and it is now a brand new month. Welcome to the first Monday in the meditation room with Dr. K for March. Today is Monday, March the 1st. First day of March. First Mondays in the meditation room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings in March. It's a brand new month. How y'all feeling? You made it through January, you made it through February, and here we are in March. Woo! Welcome to the meditation room, y'all. It's going to be a short one on tonight. It's been a busy day today. I had to literally, not busy in the sense of work, but busy in the sense of inside work, had to go offline. I hope you give yourself permission to go offline from time to time. Take a hiatus from everything and just spend some time with yourself. It wasn't planned, but being in tune with the Spirit, I followed the leading of the Holy Spirit and absolutely did that. Didn't even work out today. Yeah, sometimes you just have those days, right? Hey, Myra, good evening. Sometimes you just have those days where you get up and you feel the Spirit and hear the Spirit saying, this is a quiet day. This needs to be a quiet day. And so it was a quiet day for me. I had to shut down and power down and go within today. So I'm glad. Hey, Crystal and Reverend Demetrius. Hey, Subi. How y'all doing? I hope y'all doing okay. I went back to my girl Mesa conversation with the universe. No words, no nothing, just however she felt interpreting the music, right, with the percussion. Absolutely love it. That's how I felt today. It's one of those days, right? Nothing planned, but just flowing. How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? Hi, Sharon. Hey, Danny. Good evening, everybody. So we are going to stick to the time. So I know we talked about moving to 8 o'clock, but then I remembered on first Mondays, I have a class from 5:30 to 8:30. So we still might work it out and do something different on first Mondays from now until May. Working on my meditation teacher certification. So I'm excited about that. And I forgot it was on Mondays. Well, actually, my live class is on Mondays, first Mondays, March, first Monday, April, first Monday in May. So we may do something different on first Mondays and still move to 8 o'clock for the rest of the Mondays in the month. I'll just go into prayer and see what the Spirit says and which way to go, or just wait until May to shift it. We'll see. What y'all think? We can do something, do a recording for Mondays with some breath work and meditation, and you can come at your leisure and access it and do that on first Mondays, and then we'll meet as a tribe on the rest of the Mondays, second through third or second through fourth Mondays at 8. What y'all think? Y'all doing good? Hey, Randon. So let's just jump right in. 2B says she likes 9. So what? I'm going to go with the tribe, whatever the tribe wants, because that's what I can do. All right. So, but let me hear from you. So we've been talking about, because, I'm promising on tonight myself, because I got to get back to what the work that Spirit is doing with me on today. right? And so I want to kind of get back into that flow. For those of you who are just kind of coming in and signing on, I was saying today was an offline day for me. I didn't plan it. I just woke up this morning, my spirit and my body was like, it's quiet day today. So I didn't do email. I didn't do anything up until the point I had to do my class at 5 for my meditation training class. So it was one of those kind of days. How about you? Have you ever had that day where you had your day planned, but the spirit kind of led you to do something different, right? And it's absolutely okay to shift. One of the worst things we can do is force ourselves to be and to do and to engage when the spirit is saying pull back. Your heart, your mind, your spirit, everything within you is saying pull back, even if it's just for an hour or 2 hours, half a day, or that day. Anybody ever been there? Hey, Tammy, anybody ever been there where you had your day planned and you knew you just needed to get some stuff done, and the spirit arrested you and said, you power down, get offline, spend this time with me? And if that hasn't happened, believe me, if you are part of the Enlightened Woman tribe and you are rediscovering the joy of being yourself and making your life, your spirit, your mind, your well-being, your priority, is going to happen. And I'm telling you to rest in it, relax in it, flow with it, and do it as best you can as the spirit leads you. Right? Because our spirits, our minds, and our bodies are overwrought in this moment. Our brain cells are just on overdrive. We have decision fatigue. We just have fatigue in our minds, our spirits, and our bodies. And we need to make sure, because I'm clear you all know that as we hit March, at least for us, for those who are part of Real Power, this Sunday will be March the 7th, and really March 8th was the last time we gathered as a church family. So we will literally be celebrating a year since we've been in shutdown and not meeting together as a faith community. It will be a year. And I don't know about you, y'all, but I'm literally, I think, in hindsight, it could be why. Because have you ever been coming up on a milestone that was a challenging milestone? It was the remembrance of something. It could be the first milestone of a loved one passing, or I don't know, a divorce, or something, and you get out of sorts. And you can't put your finger on it until you realize, oh my God, it was this time last year, or this time, whatever. Your body and your mind has muscle and spiritual memory, and it will remember things in your subconscious and begin to affect you before you even realize what it is or what's going on. And we're literally coming up on a year, y'all. Unbelievable, right? Crystal's like, it's surreal. It on next Monday, it will be a year. And we're still dealing with it. So do not underestimate the effects of all of this on your psyche, on your spirit, on your body, right? On your ability to do normal. Be extra compassionate and kind and patient with yourself, right? Right. So be kind to yourself during this season, right? And follow the flow of the Holy Spirit. So we're now a year, and after next week it'll be a year plus going into this COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. And believe me, you are registering it, and so is everybody around you. All right. But we are also, many of us have lost loved ones or know people who have, or friends who have. But can I tell you, even in the midst of all of that, if you are still in your right mind, if you are still working, right, or whether you're retired, if you're still able to do some of the things that you're able to do, then thank God for that, right? Thank God for that. That your whole, even though things have been turned upside down, uh, acknowledge what you have been able to accomplish, acknowledge what you have been able to do, acknowledge that you have been able to process, right, this whole thing, that you are still to some degree in your right mind, right, that we have lived in a traumatic kind of fight or flight state for almost a year, and for some longer, because for some people it really started affecting them back in February. So acknowledge that God is still with you and pay attention to your heart and your mind and your body. All right, you got to do that. Gotta do it. So we've been talking about the journey to midlife wholeness and what that takes, right? um, Being acknowledging and being aware, right? Then we talked about healing. Midlife wholeness takes healing in that journey, and that, y'all, it is a process. It is not overnight, right? And that for me, I'm learning how to embrace progress over perfection. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for growth. I'm looking for expansion in my mind and my spirit. I'm looking to evolve, right? And so we're not looking and holding ourselves to some impossible standard as we grow and discover who we are and rediscover who we are, right? So we talked about healing last week, and if you weren't here live, go back into the archives of the on the page and take some time to listen to last week's Monday in the meditation room dealing with healing. And tonight, for a few moments, I want to talk about whose script are you living? Whose script are you living? Because we are greatly shaped by our experiences, our family of origin, right? Our cultural context. All of those things feed into who we are right now today, right? Our experiences that we've had, our family of origin, how we're cultural, our culture, who we are, right? And for us, that means, you're a Black woman or a woman of color, wherever you are. All of that feeds into who we are. And we talked about on the journey to midlife wholeness and healing, where do you hurt? Where are those experiences, where those traumas that have set up in your body, and you're registering in your body, possibly on how you see the world, how you deal with other people in the world. But those things come from somewhere. So what, like a script, when we see script, right, we normally think of a movie script. Somebody writes a movie script and then they shop it around to a movie company or house, whatever, and see if they could buy the script and turn it into a movie and all of that. So all scripts really are somebody else's idea, right, that they live by or go by what they say. And many of us, if we would really get quiet and think about it, we have the voices of people in our heads, whether it's subconscious or conscious. We have heard things, or we have had people say things to us that set up residence in our minds and in our spirits. And we then begin to govern our lives based on what we've heard. So literally a script has been written in our psyche, and then we develop feelings around what we've heard or what somebody said to us. And then we begin to give it meaning, And then we begin to make judgments and decisions based on it. Man, oh man. So you could have heard when you were young, um, grown women talking, and you overheard them saying, "Girl, you can't trust no man. Don't ever trust a man." Right? You can marry him, love him, screw him, do whatever you want to, but don't trust him. Now they weren't even talking to you, but you heard it. Man, but you heard it. And you took that as gospel truth and not even realizing. We don't even know when we've made the decision, once we've heard something, to make that our truth. And before we know it, we're living by that script that has been written in our heart, in our mind, in our subconscious or our conscious. Or somebody said, "Oh, you can't, I'm sorry, we're not hiring you. We don't think you're qualified." Woo! And from then on, your mind and your heart and your spirit say, "Oh, really? Okay. You do one of two things. You believe it, so you stop going for your dreams, or you're so incensed by it that from then on you live your life trying to prove to people that you are qualified." Either way, it puts you in a box and it traps you to always think about it. And that's the lens through which you see life and how you operate. Mm-mm. Whose script are you living by? Ah, you too dark, you too light, you too big, you too fat. The first time you got your heart broken, whatever they said or didn't say, if you weren't in a good place emotionally or psychologically, you took that to heart. Right. And so the question for us when we get in midlife, whose script are we living our life by? Did we live and try to create a life based on what somebody told us? Or did we stay in a relationship too long because we heard the script? Long as they taking care of you, it don't matter if they step out or they messing around, just stay. Right? Or somebody question you, well, what did you do? What did you say to make them treat you like that? And then the response is, oh, it must have been my fault. So what I'm getting, what I'm receiving, this treatment I'm getting is because of something I've done wrong. Or when you were younger, your parents could have gotten a divorce or something could have happened. And in your child's mind, you were responsible for their breakup or to fix it. And so you've become a fixer and feel guilty. Yeah. So whose script? Or, come on, y'all, life ain't about being happy. Life ain't about, you getting what you want. Life ain't about doing what you want and following your passion. You need to just find you a good job and work on it and earn some money, and that's it. Don't be trying to be extra. Oh my God. Right? Or somebody's, tried to make you dumb down, or right, dim your light or your shine because it made them uncomfortable. So you find yourself always trying to fit in and make everybody around you comfortable. Or you've heard crazy stuff like women don't do that, or men not gonna like you or fall in love with you if you're too this, if you're too smart, if you're too capable, if you're too this or too that, if you talk too much, if you whatever. There's so many scripts as women we've been fed, we've been taught, we've been given, right? And then sometimes we take it and take it the extra mile. And somebody says that, and then before we know it, we're repeating it. Yeah, I must not deserve that, or I must not be worthy. And here's the thing, you don't even have to let those words come out of your mouth, but somewhere those thoughts are being played in your head, right? Creating feelings and emotions around them, and then making decisions for how you make decisions and how you show up in the world. Whose script? Because this is the perfect time to go inward, to look at your life and say, am I really doing what I feel in my heart and my spirit I should be doing? Am I really living the life that I wanted? Or am I living the life that I thought my parents wanted, or I thought the culture, or I thought the world said would bring me happiness or stability or the dream? Ugh, man, how much did I ignore? How much did I overlook to live somebody else's script for me? Who did I let in my mind that shifted my whole being and my whole way of being? When we're talking about a journey to your midlife wholeness, you have to figure out if you are living your life or if you're living the life that was expected of you to live, right? Or that you thought you needed to live in order to be accepted and loved. Whose script? What story are you embracing, or what story are you now telling yourself that still keeps you minimized and or unfulfilled? Right? These are hard questions for us when we get to midlife and we determine that we're going to make ourselves priority and shift, right? Then we have to ask those hard questions. When change and transformation is on the horizon, is not going to just happen overnight. And it's not, that's especially for those of us who are believers. We've been sold a bill of goods, right, that says just pray about it, even just fast, just worship your way through, and then when things don't happen overnight and you find you still got to do that inside work, you might have to go to therapy. You might have to start journaling. You might have to let go of some stuff. You might have to cry through some stuff to get back to yourself. Then on top of what we're going through, we feel shame or guilt because maybe we not operating in faith, or maybe we not praying right, or maybe God don't love us the way he loved my sister over there who seems to have everything. Can I tell you, y'all? Mm-mm. And here's the thing, nowhere in the Bible does it say that change and transformation happens quickly or overnight or easily. Mm-mm. They don't say that. And even when it in Hebrews, 11, when it talks about the heroes and sheroes of faith, they were going through some stuff. Now, mind you, I'm not a person that says you got to suffer for suffering's sake. I'm saying that sometimes change can be painful because it causes you to have to exist in a space and a mindset that you haven't been and you haven't done heretofore. So that's scary. And sometimes it's easier to stay in that comfort place instead of doing the work of introspection and change and transformation. What has to happen is the pain of staying has to be greater than the fear and pain of changing. Right? Just like growing hurts, right? Danny, healing hurts. It can hurt. Like when you injure yourself and you cut your body or you break a bone, to reset it can be just as painful, if not more, when they resetting that bone, right? Or when you're cut, for them to really heal and they got to go in and they got to clean it. Woo! You know, you want to slap somebody and scream and holler because that's stuff that they put on to clean it, right? Which is necessary, is painful, right? And then they put on a bandage. And then you can't leave the bandage on for long. Eventually, you got to take it off so the healing process can continue. Whew. Man, y'all. So the question for you is to, as you enlightened woman, mastering midlife, redefining what midlife is, for us is taking inventory. When we talked about that, you know, a few Mondays back, when you take an inventory, I'm talking about taking a spiritual inventory of your life and where you are. Whose voice do you hear in your head? Whose voices do you hear? How do you look at it and separate that which is healthy for you, is helping you grow, or that which is keeping you stuck and stagnant? Because I mean, come on, for the longest, even in the church, it was like, you know, we accepted men telling us that women had a place, right? You can't be a leader, you can't teach, you can't preach, you can't be a pastor, you can't. And for so long, so many women ignored callings, ignored their gifts and their leadership in church because they were told, they were living the script that said you're not equal to a man. So how dare you aspire to more? You know, there was a script that said you're going to be happy and live happily ever after when you find you a man and get married and have 2.5 kids and find a house with 2.5 two-car garage, and then you should be content. Ooh, my God, how dare you want more than that? And then you can't figure out why you got headaches all the time or your stomach is always hurting. The stuff is because you are squishing your soul and your spirit to try to fit into a script and an idea of what somebody said it meant to be a woman. Come on, y'all know we grew up with that. That's not ladylike. What? How many of y'all heard that before? Ladies don't do that. Good girls don't do that. That's not ladylike. Stop, sit up, sit straight, walk straight, do this, do that, don't do that, don't say that, don't. Woo, we got more of that for some. Not everybody. That's not everybody's experience. So be clear. I don't want to overgeneralize, but I'm talking about generally the world, the culture says that women have a prescribed space and place. Now, mind you, in the church, y'all, the churches would not make it without women. And it's more women in church than men, but the leaders are often men. So now I don't have any problem with church having a whole lot more men. That you know, that's great. But I'm saying, how do you create an institution that's only surviving this far at this point because of women, but then you try to tell them they don't have any decision-making authority or process? Well, right. And so when they say, well, you got this and you got that, you should be happy. So what if I'm not? I got to pretend like I am to stay on your script, that I'm not supposed to want more or desire more for my life. No. Come on. Y'all talk back to me on tonight. Whose script are you living? Most of the time, by the time we get to midlife, we have so much to unlearn, so many, layers on top of us that we have to try to dig up through, right? And get out of just to breathe. You ever feel like you were buried alive and you just trying to breathe and you just want to dig through and come up, and take a deep breath and breathe in some fresh air to feel like you're living again? As you know, we can go for years and years, y'all, years, and not really be living and not really be breathing. Right, Marcia? People often try to silence who they fear or don't value. Absolutely. That's some good enlightened woman wisdom right there, right? That people often try to silence those who they fear and or don't value. And that absolutely has been the case for some of us as women. The fact that anybody tries to oppress anybody is because they're afraid. They see in them what the person might not even see in themselves, right? They see your power, they see your brilliance, right? They know your capacity. So, in order to not be overshadowed by it, or because they fear it, they try to control it. That's why they try to control women's sexuality, because it's powerful. And men try to make women responsible for their irresponsible behavior and inability to control themselves. Right? Because it's powerful. Look, you can't take that on. You're not responsible for somebody else's. So they try to control women's sexuality, right? And try to keep us in our place. Right? Because they know how powerful it is. They don't want you to have your own agency. They don't want you to walk in your own sexual freedom, right? And to have your own mind about it, because they're fearful of that. So they made women the fall and the fault for everything. Right? And then don't give us the ability to own our own sexuality. That's why they were scared of women when they was burning their bras and everything, and having more than one man and all that kind of stuff. I'm not advocating any of that. I'm just saying what it was a sexual revolution of freedom, that women were coming into their own and saying, I don't want to be controlled. And even the church is still even trying to do that. They're trying to control women's bodies, right? They didn't want birth control. They didn't want any of that. Oh my God, please. No, because then that means you have freedom. You can make decisions for yourself. God declared if they could keep, women at home in the kitchen, they absolutely would. Just like if they could put Black people back on plantations, and in their service quarters and taking care of them and carrying on, they absolutely would. But once you're awake, it's no going back to sleep. Once you awaken to yourself, you become awake and aware and fully conscious of your own power and agency and brilliance, and willing to go for the life that you feel like you deserve and that you're worthy for. It's no going back. And that's why midlife is such a powerful rite of passage and time. You're stepping into your power. Ooh, that don't mean you're not gonna have any bumps and bruises along the way and still have to learn and still, go through some things, but you're doing it in a totally different vibrational level of understanding, right? You refuse to be handled or controlled or talked down to, right? Woo! Come on, y'all. Who's script? And it's going to take some time because you have to ask yourself some hard questions about your life and where you are and what you believe. Can I tell you, we don't often really know what we really believe because we've been told so much of what to believe and how to believe. And you have to go in and say, do I believe? Is that my truth? And I'm not talking about God and God's word. I'm talking about how we are living because we need to acknowledge the extent of our experiences and the implications of the power of our family of origins and our early experiences that we've had in our formative years, right? So we have to ask ourselves questions and look at ourselves and say, what are my values? What are my standards? What things are deal breakers for me? What am I willing to put up with and deal with and what where is my line of demarcation, right? And women haven't always been given the freedom to ask those questions and then answer them. Mhm. Right, Crystal, that's what I'm saying. It's going to require some unpacking of deep, deep stuff. And I've been writing down some things about that, and really wanting to use those words and call it that, living a deeper life. Living a deeper life, meaning developing the skills to go inward and to mine the deep places in us that is pulling the strings on our decisions and our emotions and our feelings. We are not taught that because that is a spiritual discipline, y'all. Can I tell you, the stuff that we do in church and we've been taught to do is so shallow and surface. But the truth of the matter is, when we walk in spiritual disciplines, true spiritual disciplines, and reclaim who we are spiritually, because we are descendants of those who survived the Middle Passage, our makeup as people of color is spiritual, deeply spiritual. That we had a relationship with God without all of this stuff that prevented us from having a pure relationship with God. We were in touch with all things spirit and nature. There was no differentiation between nature and spirit and God. What the one wasn't bad and one wasn't good. It was the westernization, right? We need to be decolonized in our brain, in our minds, in our spirit, definitely in our spirituality, where we weren't afraid of the gift of being able to discern spirits and see things and acknowledge and know. Come on, we used to have people, in our upline that can look at a child and say, this child is gonna have a problem with this. We need to do this, this, that, and that. Woo! Come on, y'all. That we sense a spirit. We have to learn how not to be afraid of that. And they made us afraid of that. And they made us hate our own culture in order to control us. When anybody is trying to oppress you or control you, know that they have an ulterior motive because they want something from you that they know they wouldn't get from you or out of you otherwise. So we can't be afraid to go deep because our stuff is deep. And we can't get at it unless we're willing to go deep and face some stuff and be truthful about some stuff. Because a lot of the stuff that women deal with emotionally is because we're collateral damage from somebody else's ego and need for power. Right? And we're the collateral damage. Our hearts, our minds, our spirits, our bodies, our psyche is collateral damage. And so we have to be willing to do the healing work and walk in the freedom that that brings. Whew. So that's it for tonight, y'all, because I promise I just looked and I realized I should have did my alarm. We're already a few minutes over 9:30. Tell me what y'all think before we sign off on tonight, because we really want to do some things and we might have to go offline so that we can really work this stuff out together, because that is my calling in this season, for us to walk with each other, journey with each other, midwife each other into birthing this new place of emotional and spiritual and psychological health and wellness, right? For us to grow and come outside of the prescribed places of us. Whose script are you living? We're on our journey to midlife wholeness, y'all. It just wouldn't be worth it getting to this place in our lives and not being whole, or at the very least working towards that place. Woo! All right, y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me on the Monday in the meditation room with Dr. K for some midlife musings. That means we're talking, we're working through it, we're encouraging one another, we're sharing our wisdom. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one with wisdom. Y'all always help each other with your comments and your sharing and your transparency and vulnerability in the chat as we grow together and help each other, right? Just come on, put your hand over your heart, take a deep breath in and release it through your mouth. Come on, y'all. One more time. Take a deep breath in. And then release it with sound. Because sometimes the work can be overwhelming spiritually and emotionally when that truth of God trying to get at our healing can hit us. One more time. Take a deep breath in, enlightened women. And release it. Hallelujah. Put your hand back over your heart and say, I am whole. I am whole. I am complete in God. I am worthy of the best life God would have me to live. I am whole. I am complete. And I am worthy. That's good. I absolutely love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging with me tonight in the meditation room. For some midlife musings. We are enlightened and we are redefining what it means to be in midlife. This is a midlife revelation and creativity, not a crisis. And we are rediscovering the joy of being us in midlife and beyond. If you don't have the Enlightened Woman book, y'all don't forget, go get it. Go to Amazon, look it up, The Enlightened Woman. Put my name in, Dr. Kelly V. Hayes, or just look up The Enlightened Woman and get the book as we go forward in this journey, getting ready to work on the workbook as a partner to the book so we can then do the work to healing. Love y'all. Have a good evening. Sleep well. Have a good one. Good night.